Hey guys, welcome back to Mind State, where we help you reach your full potential. In today's video, we will be discussing 8 simple tips to get you organized at work. We all know what it's like to want something so badly that we'll do anything to get it. That's why we're here today, to help you reach your goals. We all have that one thing in our lives that we wish we could change. Maybe it's a job or career, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's even just a small aspect of our lifestyle. Whatever it is, we're sure you've been working hard at getting there. And if you haven't been, well then, now is the time. But let us tell you, success doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and effort, a lot of it. And sometimes, you might have to make sacrifices along the way. For example, sleeping less than usual. But don't worry about those little sacrifices, because when you get there, well, then anything is possible. You know what they say, if you want to get ahead, stay organized. But how do you actually do that? There are plenty of tips and tricks out there, but many of them are too vague to apply to your own life. We've put together a list of some of the most effective strategies for staying on top of things, so that you can stop getting lost in the details and start reaching your goals. Number 1. Focus your energies on what matters. When you're feeling like you're drowning, remember that your long-term goals are more important than any short-term stress. Keep your priorities in line with your goals and remember to take care of yourself. It's tempting to get caught up in the day-to-day grind of work, bills, and chores. But if you find yourself getting overwhelmed by the stress of day-to-day life, try taking a step back and looking at the big picture. What does this moment mean in the grand scheme of things? How does it fit into your long-term goals? You may find that when you take a step back and look at things from a higher perspective, the stressors of everyday life become less intimidating and more manageable. When things get tough, it's easy to focus on the negative, but that's not what will help you keep going. Instead of looking at the challenges ahead, try looking at the people who love and support you. Pictures of your family and friends can remind you that what really matters in life is love and support, and they can help lift your spirits when you need it most. Number 2. Create to-do lists. Getting things done is all about prioritizing. It's easy to get bogged down by the details of your day-to-day, but if you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, you'll see that it's all about prioritization. If you're focused on getting things done, then you need to know what your priorities are and make sure that they're being met. If you have trouble with this, try making a list of everything that needs to get done in order of importance and then focus on the most important tasks first. The rest will fall into place. A good to-do list is a daily plan of attack. But keep in mind that the best and most productive people are usually working on multiple projects at once, so prioritize accordingly. If you have 3 or 4 major projects going on at once, it can be tempting to let your daily to-do list get out of control. Use the 80-20 rule or Pareto's law to figure out which tasks are going to give you the most bang for your buck, and focus on those ones first. Number 3. Time is money, so manage it wisely. When you've got a big project to complete, it can be tempting to procrastinate. You tell yourself that you'll just do the hard stuff later, when you have more energy and focus. But the truth is that procrastination doesn't help anyone. It just makes you feel guilty and incapable. So instead of putting off your brainiac work until later in the day, schedule a quiet moment to concentrate on them first thing when you get into the office. Then, when it comes time for lunch or an afternoon meeting, take advantage of that downtime by doing any easy tasks on your list. If you tend to put things off because you don't think they're important enough, think about how good it will feel to cross them off your list. Use your commute time to plan out the day's doings so that once you sit down at your desk, nothing is left undone. Number 4. Make your calendar your BFF. You know what's a good way to avoid scheduling conflicts? Making sure you check your work calendar daily. That's right. It's not enough to just log out of your personal email account and turn on Do Not Disturb in the office. You have to actually look at your calendar, make sure there are no conflicts, and write down any commitments in pencil. If you're working on a long-term project, you can use any number of planning and scheduling forms to map it out. Some people prefer software programs or apps for this task. Others find that pen and paper work best for them. When you're in a time crunch, it can be difficult to keep yourself from running into scheduling conflicts. This is where the phrase, "I can do it all," becomes less than helpful. Sometimes, we just need to admit that we can't do it all and that we need help. It's okay. If you're running into scheduling conflicts, it's important to make sure that you are not double booking yourself or setting unrealistic expectations for yourself. You should also consider delegating responsibilities or asking for help if you need it. Are you liking the video so far? Before we get back, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and click on the notification bell to get notified of our new uploads. Now let's get right back to it. Number 5. Delegate the small stuff to free yourself up for more important things. I have a confession to make. I don't like doing things. It's not that I'm lazy or that I don't want to help. I just can't be bothered to do all the things. But here's the thing. If you're going to run a business, you need to delegate. It's important for your employees' self-esteem and happiness, and yours. But it's also important for your productivity and success. When you delegate tasks, make sure you provide adequate training and feedback on the projects you delegate. You don't want them feeling lost in the weeds, or worse yet, like they're not good enough. If you're delegating a project that's part of your core business, it's your responsibility to train your team members on how to do the job well. If they can't handle the basics like setting up a meeting or making sure they have all the materials they need, you'll need to go over it with them before you let them try their hand at executing alone. If you're working with someone who has less experience than yourself, make sure there's a clear plan for how often you'll check in. If possible, give them an opportunity to practice before moving forward with full implementation of the new system. Number 6. Get in control of your messages and phone calls. Have you ever had a pile of mail that seemed to just keep growing? That's because you're not sorting your letters correctly. When you receive a piece of mail, simply glance at its label and determine whether it can be put into the must-do now or can do anytime pile. If it's urgent, get back to it right away. If not, set it aside for later. You'll want to use voicemail liberally as well. It's much easier than answering the phone and making sure that only important messages get through. And don't forget about snail mail. If you don't have time to read your bills or letters, just set them aside in a pile on your desk until later. You can go through them whenever you have time. Number 7. Know thyself and thou shalt reduce clutter. If you're like us, your desk is in a constant state of utter chaos. It's one thing to have a messy office, but it's quite another to have a messy desk. And yet, we know how hard it is to keep things under control. You've got to balance so many things. Work, friends, family, social media. How can you possibly find time for everything? There's nothing quite like the feeling of a clean, organized desk. But it can be hard to get there. So here's what you do. Clear your desk of all the excess material that's just taking up space and making you feel overwhelmed. Toss out duplicate information and materials that will soon be outdated, and leave some blank space on bookshelves for growth. When you're done, you'll have an empty workspace, but you won't feel overwhelmed or disorganized. Just the opposite, you'll feel inspired, ready to take on the world. Number 8. Stay in order. If you're anything like me, you have a lot of important files. You have some on your desk, some in an app, and some on your computer. And if you're really organized, you might even have a few scattered around on your phone. But none of these places are safe. Not long-term and definitely not forever. For example, what if someone steals your phone? Or what if it breaks? Or what if your laptop gets stolen? Not only that, but these days we can't afford to have our information everywhere. We have too much valuable data to be stored on devices that could be lost or stolen. You know what I mean, right? You've got that one file that's so important it just has to be within arm's reach at all times. The one where it doesn't matter if it's organized or even easy to access. It just has to be there. I spend 15 minutes at the end of each day clearing my desk and another 15 minutes planning for my day's activities. Then I read this list. It's a surefire way to prevent me from wasting time in the morning, and it has saved me hundreds of hours over the years. Hi everyone, thanks so much for watching Mind State. If you found this video helpful and enjoyed watching our content, please click like and subscribe. We'll always provide excellent takes on anything and everything. And also, we'd love to know about your thoughts, so leave a comment below. See you next time!